Okay, we're back. I'm Jana with Pearl Together, and I'm so delighted and honored to be here with Elaine Magnussen. Did I say that right?
Yes, completely
okay.
Right.
The Icelandic knitter, and she's coming to us from Reykjavik.
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't sure if you lived there or not. We were just talking about that.
The west part of town.
Yes. So I'm so delighted to have Elaine with us today because she's the designer of our upcoming sweater that we're going to knit together, the Maja Cardigan. And it's lovely. It's based on traditional Icelandic design.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're knitting from the bottom up, which we have not done together before. So we start with the sleeves and we knit up, and we knit both sleeves, and then we knit the bottom up, join everything together for the yoke, and then yay! And then we're going to steek and make it a cardigan. And I'm so excited about that. People are scared. It'll be great.
It's really easy to stick. It's the easiest part of the cardigan. It's just to cut, especially with ice wool. It's not a problem at all.
Yeah. Well, we are actually using an American wool, and because Lopi is a little bit hard for us to get right now.
It's hard also here in Iceland to get it. I mean, there's been lots of demand, and the factory just there's enough wool. It's just that there's not enough machines, and they only work double shift, and there is a shortage of Lopi wool.
Yeah, so I'm a little sad about not using the traditional yarn, but we're going to use what we have and go ahead and learn with what we have. So we're really excited about that. And I will ask you a couple of questions about the pattern, if that's okay. But first, we want to learn a little more about you. Did you grow up in Iceland?
So no, I didn't grow up in Iceland. I grew up in France and moved to Iceland in my 20s. And
And now you've learned all of the knitting traditions though, and
so I used to be a lawyer in some other day. Boring, and I managed to survive the law classes just knitting on the bench. So and eventually I decided to work with knitting. Well, it didn't really happen like that. I just resigned for the law at some point, and I became a mountain guide and a cook in the mountains. And then I decided to go back to school and start to think, what do I like? What do I enjoy? What always make me feel good and brings me pleasure? And the only answer I could give was knitting, of course.
Yes. Oh, I know.
I've been knitting from a young age, and it's just part of my life. And I was, knitting. So where can I learn more about knitting? And this is how I entered a textile design school in Reykjavik, Iceland, at the Iceland Academy of the Arts. Okay. It's called. And so I started studying again, and I forgot a little bit about the knitting there because the word kind of opened.
Yes.
To me, a word that I didn't know, completely different from law, much more exciting. And then eventually I went back to knitting full time. So I've been working as a knit designer really like full time since 2010.
Okay.
And this is also when I started doing a hiking and knitting tour. So putting my mountain guide skills together with the knitting.
Oh, that's amazing. When I saw that you have knitting tours for hiking and knitting, I was like, oh, because if people have followed my channel for a while, they know that I love camping and backpacking, and I would love to take one of your tours. And so we'll put all the links to everything down below in the video description to Elaine's website, so you can take a tour also. And also all of her Ravelry patterns too. She has a wonderful book that I'm looking at, and it's Socks of Iceland, and that's a downloadable. Can people buy a physical copy as well as download the pattern?
Physical copy and also the full book. It's just recently published because I started it first as a knit along, kind of a club.
Yeah,
a club knit along. So and then the book came into print recently, and I'm going to distribution. But this is more or less what it looks like.
Oh.
So it's about sock traditions in Iceland, and it's a blend of also soft patterns inspired by mittens and old old socks, but also mittens, because there's not a lot of patterning in the socks. So I wanted to make a little bit more, and there's a lot also of history and research that I put into it. It's like kind of fascinating how you can uncover the life of Icelanders in the old day just through a very simple pair of socks. So just
definitely going to check that out.
Yeah.
Tell us about the sweater that you're wearing.
So this sweater, it has a little story. This is not the original color I made for this sweater, but it's called Kristylopi, and it's made because I always knit for someone that I know or that I don't know, or a friend. But because for me, knitting is useful, so I always like to knit for someone to wear a sweater or to wear a scarf or mittens. And this one was meant for Kristi knit. So I made actually a pink sweater. It all started that she came to Iceland and went to a ship roundup, and she said on her channel, there were so many Loki sweater at the roundup, but there's no pink, because if anyone going to Kristi channels, I mean,
it's all pink. Yeah,
she loves pink, like the bright pink. So I made a sweater, and for her, because I found kind of a batch of an old color we had for mistakes with this really bright fuchsia pink. For me, it's like Kristi pink. I mean, I see it was Kristi, and so I just decided to make a sweater. So this one is only in 2 colors, but the one I made for her is like pink with all kind of glittery and.
Oh yeah, I saw it on your Ravelry page. It's like really bright.
And bright, like. And still a little bit with delicate flowers, because I mean, I wanted still to have it a bit sophisticated and not just like she is. So and so this is my own version, like the one I made for me.
So I do have a couple of questions though for you about. We had I know what I would do, but I want to see what you think. So if we're looking at the sweater, like where the sleeve and the body join, it's not all the way up, and it's a little bit, there's some positive ease. It's a little ways down.
It's a bit of positive ease, but I still thought of it more like as a rather fitted sweater. So there's not so much ease, but people have been putting some ease. But usually with a sweater like that, I would say like you have about this is under the underarm. Actually, the looser the sweater is, the looser the wider the place is over there.
Okay.
So sometimes you look at sweater and you see a loose sweater, and it's only the sleeve length is 40 centimeters, but it will stop here, somewhere. And then you have another sweater which is very fitted, which is 45 centimeters. It's like but you can try the sleeves on, and when you've combined stitches, I mean, being able to try a sweater on is just not for top down. Bottom up sweaters can also be tried on when you, so you can always.
I think I'm going to have to do that. I knitted the sleeve for my daughter.
Yeah.
And then she was home from college. She was home from university last weekend. And I tried it. We have very long arms. We're tall and we have very long arms. But I tried it on her, and I think it's too long. I think I need to take out, take it off.
It has a rather long sleeve. It's I was when I started about it, I wanted to have it about here.
Yeah,
like reaching. I mean, this one, Kristylopi, I wanted a short one. I mean. Mm-hmm. We all have different arms lengths.
Yes.
This is why hand knitting is so nice. It's like you can adapt the sweater to not only what the designer maybe had in mind, but also what you want and what alteration you need.
So I love this color. I chose this for my older daughter.
What yarn are you using?
This is a commercially made yarn. It's called Plymouth Galway.
Okay, is it the one you're going to use for the?
And then I'm working on this one for my other daughter.
Oh, okay. Oh, you have 2 at a time. Okay. It's a whole family.
Yes. So I'm working on this one for her. But I love these colors as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. It just like go well together.
Yeah. So and then I'm going to make another one for myself.
Oh, yes, you have
Eventually.
to. So, it technically, you're not making a Lopi sweater. Technically, you would need not only used to need Lopi, but you would need to be in Iceland, actually.
One day.
Yeah, there have been some standard put on what a Lopi sweater is, and it has to be made in Iceland. So,
well, yes, I would probably have to come and stay for about a month to get that done.
Exactly, that's a good plan.
One day, though, we'll come and take a tour. I think that sounds fantastic.
Yes, yeah,
it's lovely. I just love the motif with the the leaves here. Yeah, I love that. And so these designs, how did you find these traditional designs?
So the Lopi sweater, like most yoke sweater, was born relatively late. It's like in the 40s, 50s, and the Norwegian sweater, Shetlandic sweater, the Boers Swedish sweater. It's always a question, which comes first? I don't know. Just the fade somewhere. The motif that you can find in those Lopi sweaters, they're usually inspired by old mittens, for example. So you will find lots of leaves patterns and things. And so there's a lot of inspiration from older things, because the Lopi sweater didn't exist in the 19th century. I mean, it was just before. So the ladies who have been making the first Lopi sweater, they've been looking for their tradition, and that's also why the Lopi sweater looks like very Icelandic. It's because it takes on some motifs that are already part of the tradition, and some zigzag and all kind of thing. In the Kristylopi, for example, I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of a flower pot motif. There's a pot and then the flower on the just a repetition. So it's the Lopi sweater, I would say, is still in constant evolution. I mean, because it's so new, so it's always like changing and evolving.
And if some of our newer viewers or beginner knitters don't know, Lopi yarn is very fluffy and it's very loosely spun. It's almost like knitting with pencil roving.
Actually, what we call PurlCast, the Lopi itself, it is pencil roving, and we have it in plates. PurlCast, pencil roving in plates, and we knit directly from that. It's the one I use for this one.
Okay.
Except I added because I use only one strand of pencil roving, so it breaks really easily. And to make it easier to knit and give it also more sturdiness, because this one is knitted on really huge needle. It's my yarn. It's called Love Story, and it's a lambswool Icelandic yarn. So I use basically a thread of finer yarn. You could also use mohair or something, or a thread. So, but I'm using
and you hold that, you knit with that held together.
Yeah, together, and it gives a lot of strength. But otherwise, we often use two strands together, and then it becomes really
more sturdy.
And then the yarn you probably know is called Lietlopi. So this is how you pronounce it, Lietlopi, and it's actually two strands of the PurlCast that have been two unspun that have been slightly twisted together. So it's you can't say it's truly spun. It's like a very, very loose spun, but it gives right away much more sturdiness.
Nice.
But the thing is that I want to say something, that the way we stick traditionally the Lopi sweater, because it's so young, is that we use a sewing machine. So it's really not a problem at all to use another yarn that is maybe not as fluffy and sticky. So if you want to do any trouble sticking your sweater using this method, at least with the sewing machine. Yeah.
And so when you do a tour, typically how long of a tour, how many days? Or
usually it's kind of a little week. It's about a week, a little bit less, a little bit more, it depends. And so I have like, depending on, well, I didn't have any tours the past 2 years, of course, because of COVID. But otherwise, I have like usually like 7 tours per year, and they're all different. So they all go to different regions in Iceland, in the south, the east, the west. And I each time explore a different knitting tradition. So sometimes it's the loop sweater, sometimes it's the mittens, or the socks, or the less shawls. And I try to go to some areas where it makes sense or somehow, for some reason. And so the hiking and knitting tours are kind of a blend of discovering Icelandic nature, which I think is really important. And it's also a cultural tour. So you get to meet farmers and buyers and plant wood, and you actually have something to say to them because you have this common interest. I got this idea of blending hiking and knitting together just because I was a mountain guide, and also at the time people were either just coming to the city or just going on hiking, and we're not really meeting the people. So it was a bit this idea of blending the two. And so the hiking is more or less challenging. I have one tour where there's no hiking at all, just a bit of sightseeing. But I think it's really important when working with Icelandic knitting tradition, and to really understand how important the sheep and the wool were, to actually be in nature and to see the landscape like close. Yeah. Because from a distance it may look all a bit the same, but then it's so colorful, but it's just tiny things you really have to put your nose onto them.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have some very challenging, like some challenging hike and some more or less challenging, and then different areas, and it's at different time of the year. So sometimes it's lambing season, sometimes it's sheep roundup, sometimes it's it's in the summer, or it's nice. So I do those two like usually every year or every 2 years, and I have had some people coming again and again, but in different tours.
Sure.
So they always learn something new and see something different.
What is the latitude? How far north?
It's just under the 66 line. I mean, it's just crossing on the north, in the north of Iceland. So, it's quite up.
Yes. So
it looks like it's bigger and closer than it seems on the maps, because it's
all spread out, right?
Yeah, it's all spread out, and then it becomes like really big, but it's not.
It's not as big as it looks on the map.
No, you have to look at it on the map, on the
globe.
On the globe view, it's better to see it. It's a little island, yeah.
So do you miss France?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, my home is here, and I'm Icelandic and I'm French. I have both nationalities. And,
that's wonderful.
I live here, and I go to France on holidays in Normandy, or years actually, but COVID again. Fruits and the fruits, mostly the vegetables and the fruits. That's in Iceland.
I'll bet the summers are very short there.
Yeah, that's a bit the problem. They're so short and not necessarily very warm. So the growing season is like really, really short. And if it doesn't grow, then just you don't have another chance. You just have to wait the next year.
Yeah, here as well. We are so high in elevation. Our growing season is only about 90 days.
Yeah, it's about like the same here. Like the only reason why Iceland is not covered with ice and is habitable is that the Gulf Stream is close by. That's the only reason why you can have people here. Otherwise, it would just be an ice cap.
Right. And you have volcanoes.
Well, Iceland is a volcano, actually. It came out of the... Yeah. I mean, Iceland is a young country. Like, it's so young that at the time of the dinosaurs, Iceland didn't exist.
I did not realize that.
It's so young.
Yeah.
So it's like the shifting of the plates, the Eurasian and American plates, and there's a hot spot there, and an island managed to
erupt.
to emerge from the sea. So Iceland is constantly in eruption and always growing. It's where the plates are growing apart. So we're getting like about 2-4 inches every year.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have always eruptions and always something happening.
That's fantastic. That would be fascinating to, yeah.
We have an eruption at the moment that has been going on for many months.
Wow.
Very close to Reykjavik. You can see the smoke from the city.
And I think I would really like that it doesn't get hot there.
No. Yeah, you would definitely like it.
What is the average temperature in the summer?
So I have no idea in Fahrenheit. So, but I would say it's rather mild and like 12, 14 Celsius.
Okay.
But it's all relative.
Yeah.
It depends a bit if there's wind or not. I mean, when it's like 18, 20 degrees in Iceland, it's really hot. It's a perfect knitting country because it's always sweater weather.
Oh, yay.
In the evening or anything, I mean, or if the wind blows a little bit, which is quite often, I mean, even in the hottest day, it's always good to have a lopi sweater.
And there's not very many trees there.
No, but they're growing more and more. But no, Iceland is more or less a cold desert.
Yeah.
Oases are hot springs.
That's amazing. I will put a link down below for your tours, and I don't know how quickly things will come back around after, restrictions are lifted and when you're offering things, but people can bookmark your website and keep watching.
Yeah. I mean, all my tours for 2022 are actually fully booked, and so it will be in 2023 and 2024. Yeah.
So plenty of time to plan for that and get.
Yeah, and now since I always have the same type of tour, you can still look what I have and try to plan for 2003, and it's always about the same dates. Just matters of a few days maybe.
Great.
And in 2023, I will have a novelty. I mean, I don't know if it's something that you like, but I'm going to have not a hiking and knitting, but a horse riding and knitting tour. Where we go on a like many kilometers, like really riding for many hours a day.
On the Icelandic horses.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. That's amazing.
So.
Wow. Watch for that.
Because you go much faster, so it's a completely different
experience.
Yeah.
Sure. So do you have any new patterns that you want to tell us about, or things coming up that you'd like to share?
Oh, I'm not prepared with that one.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's totally fine.
Well, I've been wrapping up. I've just been wrapping up the sock book recently, and then I also have a yarn club that is running every year. So we are in the middle of it. So the idea with this club was to discover all the novelty or little type of yarn you can have in Iceland. So I just published yesterday, but it's exclusive to the club for like 9 months. But I just published a nice call in the color of the sunset, and it's a special yarn from some woman that use only lamb's wool to make them.
That's beautiful.
I'm trying to with this yarn club. I'm also trying to support the knitting community. Yeah. And the hand dyers and the local yarn makers in the country and so forth. So that's the idea. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah. So it's going on for the moment, and then I have a few patterns that are planned. I do have one pattern. It's a Maja sweater, but a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll see.
We'll watch for that.
But with a very different color than usually lopi sweater are made for. So that's in the plan. Yeah, I have plenty of ideas. I have sweaters like you don't want to know.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I have also one other pattern that I'm going to publish. Like now, I have a sweater, another lopi sweater, which is a bit different. It's called Ütivist sweater, and it's a hiking sweater.
Oh.
I designed it as a hiking sweater, So there is a hood but with a double zipper that come here. So and it's a very different hood because it comes like a helmet. You can really it comes here like a balaclava almost.
Yeah.
And there are some zippers here on the side, so you can put things into it, but they are high enough so you can still have your belt in it. And and it has lots of fishes, a bit longer at the back or so to because you're always cold there when. And then it has also longer hands with a little thumb hole.
Oh, perfect.
And it has a construction that is very different. It's knitted from the bottom up, but the sleeves are knitted from the top down.
Oh.
Yeah. I was inspired for that by a construction of 18th century male sweaters in Iceland. And that makes it that you can make only a vest if you want to, but and also it's like very easy because of the thumb hole. Then it's very easy to actually re-knit if you knit that part that may
wear out.
Yeah, and then it has also all sorts of feature like a elbow shaping, something that you find also in all Icelandic costumes. Elbow shaping so that there's no hole coming, and I'm using mine all the time, and I've been knitting it with an Icelandic yarn called Eindrum, which is a blend of Icelandic wool and silk. The silk is adding a lot of strength to it. So I've had mine like for many years now since it's published, and I wear it every single time I'm going on a hike or skiing or mountain skiing. So I'm wearing so.
And so. Perfect. So is this pattern, have you published this pattern yet?
It is published, but it's a woman's as well. I'm making a men's version now. So I'm making a male version because it's been so popular, this sweater, and it's so practical, and I just love it. It's just, so I will often put another sweater underneath if I'm cold, and I use it as a jacket more or less.
Yes.
Either as just a sweater or just a jacket, and so that's one of the plans. Yeah, they're coming. Those I would say those are the two sweaters that I really want to publish this winter. And then I'm going to publish also, but those are already published, but not really the yarn club from the year before.
Right.
This was one of the kits.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's a nice on the Christmas slide. It's called Kertasnikker. It's the one we're still in candles. It's the last one to come. I mean, we have a long story, but and it's using all sorts of different yarns. So the idea was like to show in the shoes, for example.
Oh, that's so cute.
So it's a blend of Icelandic wool and seaweed because
Sure.
Yeah, those kind of things. So, but yeah, it's usually like some accessories like this or that.
Nice.
So it's time to publish the rest of the patterns from last year. So it's mittens and hats.
Yeah, you have a lot going on.
Yeah, there's always enough things to do.
Yes, definitely. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, and I mean, it was nice to see you, and I really look forward to see all your Maja Cardigan and all the colors you've chosen. So this pattern was actually commissioned by a Swedish company, Jarvo, who and they were going to have a knit along with Lopi, but then there was a shortage of Lopi, so they never had any knit along. And they want to have any because it's just not working. So people have been knitting with other yarns or some other yarns, and they slept the knit along. And I call it Maja because Maja, there's a cartoon character called Maja, which is a bee which goes into flowers and leaves. And then Maja, she's the head designer at Jarvo. She published lots of books and patterns. I mean, some of you may run her on the Instagram also, and so I'll just give her the name of the sweater, and try to make something that was really Scandinavian and using leaves. And using all the traditional Lopi sweater, that is, you usually have a band at the bottom and up, but I make it a little bit different, like making the band much longer.
Yeah.
So that's a bit the only modern touch I put, like putting some shaping and having longer motif band at the bottom. But otherwise, it's like really very typically traditional. And the colors I used were part of Maja's theme. I mean, there was a mood board, so I just followed the mood board.
Yeah.
When arranging the colors. Yeah. So that's how sweaters are born.
Yes, absolutely. And so even though Lopi is difficult to get right now, we're going to do it.
Yeah, and you can use any runway yarn. I mean, it works very well. I mean, I would just only recommend that you use rather a wool for sticking. That's about the only thing. But using the sewing method, I have been sewing cotton. I've been sticking cotton.
Really?
Yeah, and then I would go twice with the knitting machine.
But the reinforcing, yes.
Reinforcing, but this sewing stick is really nice. So I've been able to actually...
To stick cotton, that's crazy.
Well, I think it's less crazy than knitting a motif back and forth.
Well, that's true. That's
just me.
I don't want to go back and forth. Knitting in the round is much better. It's quicker. It's nice. It's more consistent.
I mean, even if I need something plain without any motif, I will still knit in a rounded stick. I mean, it's just much easier.
Right. Yes, we're excited.
That was the first one, and I understand it can be scary for some people.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do a little practice. We're going to do a practice little thing before we stick the sweater.
Yeah, exactly. Usually, I would recommend that you make a swatch, of course.
Yes.
And then you pick your swatch. Just try on your swatch. I mean, it's so easy.
Yeah. I think I'm going to make a little coffee cup.
Yeah.
Cozy, and then stick that, put a button. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's fun.
You can try on the buttons and so
sure.
forth. Color work, you can also try. It's also a way to try on your colors and to see how they match together.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me, and have a very nice time.
Well, we will. I don't know if you follow social.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to follow your knit-along.
Yeah, we'll put a hashtag on there and
yeah, we'll have a look. Just let me know what hashtag you have.
Okay. We will cast on our first sleeve. We'll cast on the sweater on the Friday after our Thanksgiving here in America. So it will be. I believe it's November 26th. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me.